I think it's safe to say when you go back and look at The Last Jedi, one of the key problems with it was, in fact, Rose Tico. The character of Rose Tico was simply just underdeveloped and not interesting. I mean, she stopped Finn from effectively completing his character arc by sticking it to the First Order in order to save his friends at the end of The Last Jedi. In fact, that whole moment felt like a good hero's death that was robbed because, well, Kelly Marie Tran, or sorry, I want to say Rose Tico was thirsty for Finn. She was really thirsty for Finn, and that whole thing got just jettisoned into space for The Rise of Skywalker. In fact, Kelly Marie Tran only got 1 minute and 16 seconds of screen time in the movie, and that has a lot of people out there with the hashtag Rose Tico deserved better. But apparently, and I did talk about this in my video on that one, where I said it is a possibility that they could be bringing the character to Disney Plus in order to give her the retribution that many people are asking for. And it turns out I'm not the only one who thought that could be a reality, and someone actually did make that claim. So a director, John M. Chu, pitched the idea of a Kelly Marie Tran Star Wars series to Disney Plus. And John Chu is a person right now who's got a bit of influence in Hollywood due to the success of Crazy Rich Asians. So that could be something that ends up working out in the way that he wants. And right now we're in this place where Asian representation is still an ongoing conversation. I don't think it's ever not going to be an ongoing conversation, and it's one that I'm totally cool with. Again, representation across the board, I'm fine with. But this is something that Disney could look at as a positive, especially if they're trying to break themselves into China and they want to maybe have someone of Asian heritage, even though I believe she's Vietnamese, in order to basically play that up. Yeah, you could sit there and criticize them for kind of like, playing the stereotypical game, but it's business, and that we see a lot of that in business. Anyway, hashtag Rose Tico deserve better started trending on December 26th, the day after Christmas, and nearly a week after release of Rise of Skywalker. Fans of Kelly Marie Tran's character from The Last Jedi were disappointed by Rose Tico's brief screen time in the latest film, even though Tran herself said publicly that she was happy with her role in the ensemble, especially her scenes incorporated into the footage of Carrie Fisher. Fans wanted to see more of Rose. Well, again, 1 minute and 16 seconds. And not only that too, this is something that popped up on IndieWire a couple of days ago, that Kelly Marie Tran was excited for Rose and Rey to interact in Skywalker, but those scenes don't exist. And that is something that, again, feels like it was actually done, but it just never came to fruition. It says here that Rose pops up in the beginning of Rise of Skywalker as the main characters get ready to take off to the desert planet. Finn tells Rose that she won't be going with them and that the characters leave without her. Rose is nearly absent from the rest of the film, although she is shown briefly fighting on behalf of the Resistance during the climactic battle against the First Order on Exegol. By removing Rose from the narrative, many critics believe The Rise of Skywalker is disrespectful in how it validates the toxic fans and Last Jedi backlash that drove Tran off social media. So you see, we're already kind of running on that narrative here. There were people out there that did treat Kelly Marie Tran terribly, and those people are jerks. They're 100% jerks, but not everyone who was critical of the character of Rose Tico was doing so because they are racist or bigoted or misogynistic. Now, apparently, Entertainment Weekly did publish an interview with her on November 29th, just a couple of days before the cast and crew saw the first cut of the film. And in it, Tran expresses her excitement over where Rise of Skywalker takes her character, saying that she was most happy for Rose to interact with Daisy Ridley's series protagonist, Rey. So what we have is a situation where Kelly Marie Tran was like, look, I shot a bunch of scenes with Rey, right? And we know that because there was that one image that came out of her talking with Rey. And she looked a bit different. She didn't look as, I don't want to say frumpy, but she was kind of frumpy in The Rise of Skywalker, more so than I believe The Last Jedi, but she looked a bit more composed. I'm not too sure how to describe it in that particular image. And it does appear that a lot of her was actually left on the cutting room floor. And there's actually been kind of a slight movement that I've heard rumblings of on Twitter and in comment sections that have suggested that there be a petition for an extended cut of The Rise of Skywalker in order to give us more time with the characters, more time with the story, and to not have it feel like it was kind of coming at you at breakneck speed, which does make a lot of sense considering that the movie does have a few of those problems. But anyway, jumping back into this story here. So it took until about 9 p.m., but one Rose Tico fan who may be in a position to do something about it weighed in. A big-time Hollywood director pitched Disney Plus a Rose Tico streaming series And it says here, the director of Crazy Rich Asians wants to make a Rose Tico series with Kelly Marie Tran. John M. Chu tweeted, okay, at Disney Plus, put me in, coach. Let's make this series happen. Hashtag Rose Tico deserves better at Star Wars. That shows that not only does he agree with fans, but he has an idea for more stories to tell with Kelly Marie Tran. And I have said before that if they wanted to go back and do a show about the Tico sisters and how they worked underneath Vice Admiral Holdo and bring in Laura Dern and tell that story where they prop up those characters that were very underdeveloped in The Last Jedi, that were kind of in some aspects feel like they were shoehorned in order to make you care about them. And I say this because I just watched Toy Story 4 this morning for the first time, and I noticed that there was a bunch of new characters that were brought in while the older characters were kind of pushed out. And I didn't really care for that because it's like the last time we're going to see these characters, and I would love to see more with them, but that's kind of what's going on. But if they take it and they make it their own show where we get to see them, like how the First Order came to their planet and ran them off their planet, they get involved with the Resistance, they work for Holdo, all of those things, and it goes through their journey leading up to the beginning of The Last Jedi and potentially Rose's story between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, that is something that could be interesting. I'm not going to say great, but just interesting nonetheless. Now, John M. Chu is a person who I think could probably pull it off, but at the same time, his credentials are not something that I really would look at as being this kind of storyteller. But then again, we've seen good, we've seen like Taika Waititi, who did like, kind of like really weird indie comedy films, knock it out of the park with, with Thor Ragnarok and everything else. So anything can really happen. Now it says here, Chu is busy with his own movie career, but it sounds like he would make the time to create a series for Kelly Marie Tran's Star Wars characters. He would only really have to direct the first episode and set it up for other directors to carry on, like Favreau did with The Mandalorian, although Favreau didn't direct it, so there's that. But it says here, Crazy Rich Asians was a landmark film, a Hollywood studio movie featuring all Asian leads that became a blockbuster success. Chu was working on 2 sequels, but first he directed the In the Heights, featuring a cast of Latinx actors. And then his earlier films, though, and this is where it gets a little bit kind of iffy, are his Step Up sequels, Step Up 2 and Step Up 3D. So he did Crazy Rich Asians, which was a romantic comedy, and then he did the Step Up movies. I don't know. He just because there's another movie in there too that they're trying to kind of pimp up here, right? Because they say John Chu could direct the movie or direct the show because he's a lot of experience with ensemble dramas and musical. He also directed 2 Bieber documentaries and the Gem and the Holograms movie. Like, they're literally trying to argue that Justin Bieber documentaries, which I didn't see, I have no idea, but Gem and the Holograms, which was a just huge failure across the board, that puts him in blockbuster experience. Now, there is one entry into this one that I like, and I will admit that G.I. Joe Retaliation, in my mind, was a fair amount of fun. That was an action movie. Your mileage on it might vary, but it was written by Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, who did Deadpool. So the dialogue in it was definitely over the top and definitely crazy. And I thought Chu brought an interesting style to it that made it feel like it was some kind of like 90s action film versus something that I think came out in like 2013. Now it says here that explosions and lasers would be part and parcel to any Rose Tico story, but who's to say that this Disney Plus, that his Disney Plus series couldn't be more of a drama about her relationships planet side. Now he's also done visual effects with Now You See Me too, but that wasn't as good as Now You See Me. And then it asks a question here: will will Disney Plus take the pitch? And the truth of the matter is, I think they will. If I'm being honest with you, I think they will. I think Disney Plus right now understands the impact of Star Wars on the platform, right? The Rise of Skywalker, for all of its faults and its ups, its downs in the box office, is ending the Skywalker saga. That's done. That chapter is closed. We're now just kind of dealing with the generalized aftermath. When we look at something like, let's say, Disney Plus and how it's going towards the future, what that tells me specifically is that really what they want to do is they want to really push towards that type of storytelling, right? You give it $100 million, which is cheaper than the budget of a movie, and you do it on Rose Tico, and maybe I would pitch it as Rose Tico and Paige Tico. Bring in Paige Tico, tell that story, because I think giving us more background with the character would then make us care about her more in The Last Jedi. I really do. I think if they do that, they're going to be on like kind of maybe the winning ticket for how to then reintegrate the character into canon by making her more interesting. And then maybe even giving us more with Holdo to actually have us give a crap about Holdo. The problem with The Last Jedi had everything to do with Rian Johnson overstuffed it with characters that no one cares about, that were ultimately disposable, with a plot line that went really nowhere and set nothing up for the future. So yeah, in that regard, Rose Tico deserves better because she deserved a better creator sending her on her journey. JJ did with her what he could do. A minute and 16 seconds is not the end of the world. It ain't great. It ain't great, but it ain't the end of the damn world. You know, she got some screen time. She was still around. And if they want to give her a show that takes place before The Last Jedi and after The Last Jedi, that could be some compelling dramatic storytelling, and one that would actually then make us care about her as a character. And I'm okay with that, actually. I mean, you might be different. I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions on this one. So let me know down in the comments below how you feel about this. And if you made it this far, go ahead and type Tico into the chat so I know. And then if you guys want to help support the channel, you can do that through Patreon. Link in the video description. Coming into the COPPA of 2020 is going to be nuts. So a dollar, got that. That would help out. And if you want to get in further on the conversation, Discord, which the ad for that's going to play right now. Hey, thank you very much for watching the video. If you want to keep the conversation going, and if you made it this far, you clearly do, come on in and join the Discord. Link is in the video description. Can't wait to see you there. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.